Welcome back to another episode of HB Life Coach. I'm your host, Emmanuel Vega, and this is a platform where we talk about how to transform your mindsets and your habits. That way you can transform your lives. And we do this using personal development techniques. I'm going to be talking about a theme this month called love. And this video's title that it goes in alignment with our theme for this month is 3 ways for you to discover your love language. So as I go into depth about the 3 things I think are useful and helpful in discovering your love language, I think you should tell me what you found useful and what you've done to help discover your love language in the comments below. Alright, with that being said, before I jump on in, please do me a favor, like, share, subscribe. You don't want to miss this information for the future. We have amazing videos coming out your way. So stay tuned, here we go. So what are the 3 ways I think that we can help discover our love language? Well, the first one is reflecting on past experiences, right? When we look back in our memory and we see the things that made us feel a certain way, or we felt, or we did a certain thing, and it brought joy into our lives, enthusiasm into our hearts, right? How did that feel? Those things we want to keep doing more of. If someone said, "Good morning, beautiful," and you were like, "Oh my God, did you just call me beautiful?" You might be a person who likes words of affirmations. If someone says, "Hey, don't worry, I got you, I'm gonna go do that for you." You might be a person who, if you're affected by that, you might be a person who likes acts of services. Well, let's figure out what you actually can do to discover. And I got a bonus trick for you at the very end. When we talk about looking at our memory, there's 3 things I really want us to focus on. Moments where we've experienced love, and lapses in the times we did not experience love, and then the patterns that help us understand how these have affected us, impacted us, made us feel, made us think, made us behave, whatever the case may be. How did the patterns go about when we were experiencing the lack of love, when we were experiencing the full-on effect of love? What would it look like? And just like everything else in life, it leaves a clue. So if you want to understand it, you have to follow it. Right? What was a time you felt loved? What was a time you felt cared for? Who did this for you? How did that feel? What did you do in return? How did you want to feel? How did you want to be held this way? Did you want someone else to do this? Think about the times you felt that, right? The love, the joy, the appreciation, the being seen, the being valued, the being heard. How did that feel? Who did this? Where was this? When was this? How? Right? Ask the 5 whys. How? Who? What? When? Where? What? Why? I said what twice. Right? And then when you do that for the things that you've actually experienced in love, do the same thing for the things you did not experience in love. The lack of it. Was there anyone around when you felt a lack of love? Or were you by yourself? Was it family, friends, strangers, co-workers? Partner? Who was it? Was it just you? And what was a time when you felt that you had no one in your corner and someone showed up? What about a time when you felt you have everyone in your corner and no one showed up? Think about how these moments impacted us, how they shaped us, how they moved us, how they molded us, right? And then identify the patterns. This is going to help us understand, right, the memory. It has a whole bunch of our past experiences. That's all it really is. An experience of what we experience, a moment of what we experienced in the moment, retained in our mind. There is no past, but it's there. That's another story for another day. That's a story for another day. At the end of the day, all that matters is, did you or did you not have memories where you felt loved, where you felt unloved? And what were the patterns behind them? Right? Figure that out first. All right, the second way you can discover on how you can figure out your love language is pay close attention to your actions. Think about your comfort zones. Was there a specific place that you felt comfortable? Was there a specific action that you felt comfortable with? Like holding hands, like hugging, like kissing, like talking? What was a certain location where you felt comfortable at? Like maybe a restaurant, maybe a car, maybe the couch, maybe each other's arms. Maybe you didn't feel comfortable at all, right? Think about how these things impacted you again. Another action you can tell and look at is gestures. Did someone write you a love letter? Did someone write you a note? Did someone buy you something? Did someone take a task off of your to-do list and made your day easier to complete? What are people doing to show up for you? And how does that make you feel? What are people not doing to not show up for you? And how does that make you feel? It all goes back down to how you feel. The things people do or don't do and how you feel. Another way I feel that you can discover your love language is communication with others. Because here's the thing. You may not know what you feel you think you like or don't like. But someone else watching you can easily identify that you're in love with this task, this activity, that you have so much joy behind it. Think about this for a second, right? Let's imagine in our minds that we're across the street and we watch someone else walking across the street and they're on their phone, right? And let's just for a second, not knowing what they're saying on the phone, we're just watching their behaviors, we're watching their mannerisms, we're watching their body language. They got a promotion. They're jumping up for joy now. They're like, oh my God, what? I got a promotion? What? They're defying gravity. They're elated. They have a smile on their face. They're bubbly. They look like air is filling their lungs because they're just jumping. That person, do you think that they love that moment or not? I personally would look at them as they're loving that moment. I don't know what's going on across the street. I just see a person jumping for joy. I don't know what's going on in the conversation. I just see someone jumping for joy. That's it. But let's say that I'm still across the street and I view a different person still on their phone, and instead of getting the good news that they got a promotion, they found out that their auntie, the one that raised them, because their mom and dad wasn't around, their auntie passed away. And their auntie was somebody that raised them since they were like 3. And they just got the news. They froze. They're mad, they're sad, they're confused, they're shocked, they're in disbelief, they're in grief. They froze. They stare at the ground. Not only do they do that, but then their shoulders shrink, their body slugs, and they don't feel as good anymore. What do you think this person is feeling? Do you think they're feeling positive emotions, happy emotions, things of love? No. But why did I say this? Because I think that if you can see people you don't know, strangers, and identify the state of emotion that they're in based off their nonverbals and not knowing a thing about their life or what they're saying on the phone, and you can identify a variation of their emotion, then there's people in your life that see you on a daily. They can understand how you're feeling about certain things and how you're feeling about other things that you may not be able to regularly identify. So maybe your best friend can notice that you really love tacos every Wednesday and not Tuesday. Or you really love to get your nails done every other week. Or maybe you like to get a lineup every single 5 days. 7 days is too long for you. People notice things about you. Ask them. If they really care about you, they will tell you. They're paying attention already anyways. There's a saying that goes, for those of you who are concerned about what people are going to say, there's a saying that goes, those who matter don't mind, and those who mind don't matter. Don't worry about what people say or think about you. Go ask them, right? And if they matter in your life, they won't matter. They won't mind what you're going through, what you're saying, what you're doing. They don't. They're just going to care about your best interest, your best health, your best future, your best life. Because a real friend's going to uplift you and support you, even if you're above them and succeeding more further than them. Because at the end of the day, when you lift another person up and you get success, they get successful, you get successful, now it's their chance to lift you up or you to lift them up, right? So think about it like that. You can pour into others so they can pour into you, or you can take from others and they can take from you. It's up to you. Last but not least, right? So when it comes to this communication thing, there's this, you can share experiences, you get to understand where they're coming from, things that they felt, things that they've seen, things that they've been through and witnessed, and maybe you didn't know that about yourself, right? Because now that you're sharing them, asking them about you, now they can also share things about themselves. And now you're learning something about someone else that you love and care about that you didn't know about before, and you could draw upon that experience to help you out with your decisions and your problems and your desires and your solutions and everything else that you got going on in your life. So when it comes to friends and family, communication is key. Closed mouths don't get fed. So open your mouth, ask, what do you think I'm in alignment with? What do you think I like? What do you think I don't like? What do you think my love languages are? What do you do for me that I appreciate the most, or I show the most sincerity in, or show the most appreciation for? Ask your friends and family these questions. And then ask them too, one thing that you could do for them to help support their love languages. And when you're done with this, when you're done having this level of communication, have a journal and observe your responses, observe their responses, because at the end of the day, this is a relationship. Whoever you're asking this to, whoever you don't ask this to, whoever's in your life, you have a relationship with them, whether it's your coworker, your friend, your colleague, your neighbor, your brother, your sister, your mom, dad, whoever the case may be, your kids, you have a relationship with this person. And the more you know them, the more they know you, the easier it is to communicate, the easier it is for you guys to make things happen. That's what I think are the key ingredients to helping you discover your love language. And there's something I saw online. So last but not least, bonus, right? Last but not least, I heard that if you really want to discover your love language, you could easily identify it by figuring out what your hurt language is. If you have a lot of negative self-talk, maybe your love language is words of affirmation. If you really don't take care of your households, right? Things just go to shit. Like, let's say there's a mess here, there's a mess there, and it just keeps building up. Maybe your love language is acts of services. If you constantly buy gifts for other people, or you get hurt when people think about other people and get things for them, but you don't get anything, maybe your love language is giving gifts, right? I don't know what it is for you, but the opposite of the love language is the hurt language. And so if you have a hurt language and you are experiencing that already, and you can identify that, then it'll be easy for you to identify what your love language is, if my method didn't help. So again, if this message has helped you, please like, please share, please subscribe, comment down below on what you felt like was the most easily recognizable way to discover your love language. Or if none of these worked with you or resonated with you, please let me know what has worked for you and what you think is going to be beneficial for other people. As always, stay blessed and stay beautiful.